In a quiet town in Georgia, a simple visit to the police station turned into a moment that would shake a community to its core. An elderly mother, searching for her son, faced humiliation at the hands of an officer blinded by prejudice. But this was only the beginning. What followed exposed deep-rooted injustice, sparked a fight for accountability, and changed the future of law enforcement in Ashford forever. This is a story about courage, family, and the power of standing up for what's right. In the small southern town of Ashford, Georgia, where time seemed to slow beneath the shade of ancient oaks, lived Mildred Parker, known affectionately as Millie. At 78, Millie was a pillar of the community devoted to her church, a familiar smile to neighbors, and a heart full of memories. Widowed and often lonely, she clung to one hope above all: to find her son, the boy she only remembered by his childhood nickname, Junebug. One stormy afternoon, the rain falling like a steady drumbeat against the Ashford Police Department, Millie shuffled inside. The warmth of the building was a sharp contrast to the chill that seeped through her thin coat. Her voice, weak and quavering, carried a single, desperate plea. Where was Junebug? Officers in the lobby paused, exchanging curious looks. But for Derek Monroe, the man on duty, her presence was an irritation. Derek Monroe was no stranger to frustration. A white officer nearing retirement, bitterness had settled into his bones like a poison. Years of simmering resentment had made him quick to judge and slow to empathize. When Millie's fragile voice reached him, he saw not a mother searching for her son, but a nuisance disrupting his day. Without hesitation, he uncapped a bottle of water and poured it over Millie's head, sending a cold cascade down her trembling frame. The room fell silent. Millie stood soaked and shivering, too stunned to speak. The bystanders in the lobby gasped, some frozen in shock, others whispering in disbelief. One young woman, unable to stand by, discreetly pulled out her phone and sent a message, a desperate call, to someone she hoped could help. Suddenly, the back office door slammed open. Chief Julián Parker stormed into the room. Tall, commanding, with sharp eyes that scanned the scene in a heartbeat. He immediately saw the soaked woman, his mother. His heart clenched. "Mama." The word escaped him like a prayer, raw and trembling. Derek's face drained of color as realization dawned. This was no ordinary civilian. This was the chief's mother. Without a word, Julián crossed the room, draping his coat over Millie's shoulders and guiding her gently to a chair. Her voice, barely audible, broke the heavy silence. "I came to see my Junebug." A hush fell over the room. Everyone understood. Junebug was Julián himself, the son she had been searching for all those years. Julián's voice hardened. "You assaulted a civilian, my mother, in front of this entire department." Derek stammered, grasping for excuses. "I didn't know who she was. I had a bad day." But the chief was unyielding. "No one gets to decide who deserves dignity. Badge or not, you're done." Derek Monroe was suspended immediately. Badge and weapon confiscated. But the story was far from over. As the internal investigation unfolded, layers of corruption and abuse peeled back. Derek's personnel file revealed a history of racial complaints and misconduct. Complaints that had long been ignored by a system too eager to protect its own. A retired officer, Calvin Rhodes, stepped forward with explosive testimony. Derek had falsified reports and planted evidence against black youths to boost his arrest numbers years ago. One victim was Tyrese Samuels, a young man whose life had been derailed by wrongful conviction. Julián reopened 8 cold cases, unearthing coercion, planted evidence, and damning racist language hidden in disciplinary notes. The community's outrage swelled, fueled by media attention and the chief's unrelenting push for justice. The disciplinary board handed down a historic sentence: 3 years suspension without pay, mandatory therapy, and 300 hours of community service focused on minority outreach and senior care. Derek appeared on local news, begging for forgiveness, painting himself as a man seeking redemption. But Julián saw through the facade. Accountability is not humiliation. It is the first step toward healing for victims and the entire community. Meanwhile, Millie slowly recovered physically, surrounded by family and care, but her mind remained fragile, sometimes forgetting the ordeal, sometimes searching for Junebug again. Her vulnerability touched the hearts of many and became a symbol of the fight for dignity. Julián's resolve grew stronger. He created a civilian oversight board, mandated body cameras for all officers, and launched Justice Speak, a reporting app that logged hundreds of misconduct reports within its first month. The town, once silent under fear and injustice, was awakening. Derek Monroe was last seen cleaning floors at a local senior center, stripped of authority and haunted by the legacy of his actions. Ashford would never forget how one elderly woman's quiet courage sparked a powerful movement for justice and accountability. This was not just a story of abuse and punishment, but a testament to the unbreakable bond of family, the demand for systemic change, and a community's awakening to the truth that dignity and respect belong to all. The echoes of Millie's courage would linger in Ashford, reminding everyone that justice often begins with one voice refusing to be silenced.